Good evening. We're going to go ahead and call the first workshop to order, and it's going to be on the county website. So if someone from the commissioners wants to, Tony, what? No pledge allegiance.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, it's my pleasure this evening to present to you our proposal, which encompasses Sarah Solutions, a redesign of the county's aged website. As you all know, it's a tool today that is a critical component of not only the citizens' access to its local and county government, but a promotional marketing tool for all those that may take a hard look at LaPorte County for a place to call home. So it serves many purposes and is one that I have the pleasure of introducing the team to you this evening, which consists of, first and foremost, the county commissioners, which suggested I reach out to find a local contractor, and we have with us our Sheila Matias, Commissioner, and also Dr. Cora, that are here this evening. And my understanding is Rich Brzezinski is attending an urgent meeting on another matter, but also part of the team. And then we have our very critical component to the team, the IT director, Darlene Hale, who has worked very closely on the background, very technical issues that assure that this proposal can meet the needs of the county in the years to come, should you select the process. But we've done our due diligence in working as hard as we could to identify a solid proposal that, if I can take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Seth Spencer, who will, I have the pleasure of introducing to you. I think what's most unique about Seth, as a young LaPorte County native, calls LaPorte home and has chosen to grow his small business here in LaPorte. One of the most unique things is that he was designated as the Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017, and that's quite an honor for a Northwest Indiana small business owner, being designated and selected by his peer group. That's the lending institutions, all of the small business development advisors. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Spencer to you, who can run through their proposal and explain the values of the value proposition going forward and why we need to update the website.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Tony. So I am Seth Spencer, founder of Sarah Solutions. We are a digital marketing agency and web development agency in Michigan City. We are one of the only Google partners in Northwest Indiana. Our company culture revolves around being data and quality driven, so we like to use analytics and numbers to make informed decisions throughout projects. And over the past 4 years, we've worked with hundreds of businesses and organizations across the region. So we possess a vast knowledge of the community preferences and diversity. I'm here today to talk to you about the LaPorte County website redesign. Our objective for the project would be to improve the online presence of LaPorte County and accurately reflect it for business owners, residents, and those alike. In the project, we focus on 4 main components, ease of use being the most important and I would say relevant now. Internally managing the website, the ongoing maintenance of it, as well as on-time delivery and on budget. So for ease of use, this would involve the mobile elements, usability, We propose collecting community input, so surveys and polls from those residents and business owners. Currently, the county website has 160 plus pages on it, so it has a lot of information. It being easy to use, so the feedback from the community on what services and pages are they using the most often, and how could we design that and develop that for them, as well as search functionality quickly and being able to find that, and then ADA compliance across all devices. Secondly, and I would say this is very beneficial, is the county to be able to use their existing web server. So this results in significant cost savings, not having to outsource that to a company. The county would be able to use their existing security firewalls and such. And we would develop the website on WordPress, which is the world's leading content management system. So frequently updated with performance and security fixes. For ongoing maintenance, the county would not be relying on an outside firm either. So we would help with the initial design and development, the process of that, and then ongoing, we would suggest super user groups. So that could be department heads or designated users in the county, and those people would have permission-based roles. So access to certain pages or areas of the website where they could upload files and make edits. So that could be used for meeting minutes, meeting agendas, etc. We would provide on-site training for this prior to launch, and we also have a lot of documents already for processes on how to do so and training there. The rough timeline for the project would be approximately 3 months from start to finish, including the discovery and planning session, which would involve the community feedback, up to the training and launch. Following 1 to 2 weeks prior to a launch date, we would do on-site training with the super user group and make sure that they're comfortable with all of that during launch, but then also afterwards. And probably worth noting that the county server, we've suggested some software there that we're extremely knowledgeable with. We host hundreds of websites specifically on WordPress and that. So we would also be able to provide information and counseling there for that. And ideally, the project outcome, not only do we have a updated website that is aesthetic and easy to use, but I think one that accurately reflects LaPorte County for businesses, homeowners, not that are currently here, but also looking to come here. We have very, I would say, beautiful county with the lakes and everything we have here. I don't think that it's well represented, and I think that we could tremendously help with that. And getting the community involved to help them get what they want out of a website as well. Easy to use. And with that, I know that was really brief, but complex project, so try to make that simple. If there's any questions, happy to answer them, as well as Darlene.
Anybody have any questions? Mike?
Yes, I do. For references, have you done other municipalities, and which ones were they?
No, so we have not actually done a municipal, like city government website. And so oftentimes we're asked that in different industries, have we done work in their industry? One thing that's very unique about us is we do custom web design and development. So we work with very large nonprofits to Chicago retailers, etc. So really, despite the industry that we're in, we start from the ground up and do design and development. But to answer your question, no, we have not.
It doesn't inhibit me from trying to move this forward. Mm-hmm. It's just a point.
Turn your mic on.
Sorry, thought it was. Thank you. I just, for me, it's just a point of reference. The type of work I do is very general, so I also have to reach out to many different types of businesses, understand them all, so I get it. Yeah. You know, I get that part. Thank you. A couple more questions, if you don't mind, if no one else has.
Absolutely.
Just roughly the size of your company as it stands now?
Right. So internally in Michigan City, we currently have 5 employees in-house, and we're currently adding 1 to 2 more. And we also have 2 contractors that we utilize locally.
Everybody's local, or?
Yes. So
you're not doing any web, any working from home, is it pretty much where everybody comes in?
No. Or? Yeah, all of our employees reside in either Lake County or LaPorte County.
Just real quick, there would be an additional $200 annually for some of the software that we do need for the server. Hardware we currently
said
own. 200. Yeah. And that's just for the license for the server software.
Mr. Yagowski.
It kind of reflects, I know Sheila, you've been trying to lead us. Could you mind if you come up and ask the same questions for both of you? 17 years ago, I guess, that we did a local person too, was Tony Comagese. I don't know, you guys know Tony Comagese. He's our website. So we had like a piece of paper, basically came up like this. That was always our website at the time. And so he implemented it and started out really good with the gang bang, and everybody got excited and so on and so forth. But over the years, I know we did nothing but, I've been on a data team that we've done nothing but try to almost force the individuals to enter the data information meetings, so on and so forth. What's the plan to change that? Because I know it's going to be a very difficult process, because everybody says at first they're all excited about it, but it wanes out very quickly.
Great question. So a couple things I will start with before I answer that question. You may remember you had a proposal in front of you about 18 months ago for about $78,000 from a non-local company who did do government websites. And when I researched that company, I found out they were out of Oklahoma. They did national work, but they used a government template. They changed the pictures, they changed the font. But if you look at South Bend, for example, St. Joe County, you look at Porter County, they have that company. They paid them $78,000 to $80,000 to get them out the gate, and then about $5,000 to $6,000 a month to maintain the server and security and software updates. So what we tried to do is look for a local company where we would keep the money in LaPorte County. To your question, you are right. If we're going to internally build this, we're going to use the WordPress platform. WordPress is not difficult, so it doesn't require huge amounts of technical skills to update it. We will be building a super user group, but it has to be housed somewhere. And so the idea that the commissioners had is that it will be housed in the Community and Economic Development Office, because it's a community building project. And so somebody in that office, Tony's looking for an assistant, but that person would be the manager of this project. And then, of course, I'm really involved in it because I think that it's something that we really need for our community. So I would provide oversight. And then the super user group that Seth talked about, we've had many meetings about this. So a super user group would be asking our department heads to designate people, and this would be part of their job description. They would have, whether it's 2 hours a week to collect content, we need to keep the content fresh. We need to make sure that meetings, poor Darlene, she tries to get meeting notes and agendas, minutes, documents, and people occasionally give them to her. Sometimes they give them to her a month late. We have to figure out a process for that, so we need to create a system where there will be a way for people to upload their documents. It will flow to the super user group, and then people will begin to edit and post. I can promise you that there won't be misspellings on there. As a former English teacher, I will make sure that the grammar is correct. Any other questions?
Is the if you don't mind,
No, go ahead.
is the procedure or new policy from the commissioners going to be developed in a timely fashion or quickly, so that all these appointments to these committees, because between the council and the commissioners, we have a lot of appointments on. So a lot of these people, we have influence over a lot of these people to make sure that information gets in there. So we need to make sure that, that's absolutely critical.
Right. I did not want to get too far out of the gate before I knew what the council's feeling was about providing an updated website. The last major rehaul was in 2003, which is the one Mark mentioned. In the world of technology, anything built in 2003 is back in the dial-up day. So it's not our best work. The IT department has done a good job of keeping it as updated as they can without investing major dollars. This is I think is cost effective. It's under $30,000. The monthly fee is very minimal to make sure that security and it has all the patches that it needs. But I think if we set some policy right away and begin to build a system so that it doesn't get away from us, I think that's going to be absolutely critical. Spending money to build a website and then not maintaining it is money wasted, and I'm sure you would agree that that's not anything we want to do.
Absolutely. Mr. Yagowski.
It's also on the same thing, Sheila.
No, you're right.
What has happened over the years is that we've had our departments go rogue. So is there some way to bring in the other departments that went rogue to bring it in to make one system so I think it would work more efficiently?
I would agree with that. Some of the rogue people that you mentioned are decision makers on their own right, so I will certainly work with them to influence their decisions going forward. I think from a security standpoint, from a seamless online presence, it would be far more serviceable to have everything under one banner website, and then people can click to the various departments. How that will actually be executed, I will use my powers of persuasion, and you can use yours, of course. There's various ways to convince people, and I'm sure you know all about those. So, yes, I will do my best to try to make. I think that would be the optimum product. Would be to have everything housed under one place. You know, when you look at LaPorte County, we have so much here, and we aren't able to tell our story. And you know, whether you are thinking about our customer service, where our citizens want to look things up. I've heard it a million times, and I'm sure everyone here has too. They get lost down a rabbit hole on our website. There's so much old content on there, and people need it to be accessible on their mobile phone as well. So I think do we have some work to do? There may be a few hiccups, but I think together we can get this done.
My last question. Sorry, one last question, Tony. That would be for you, please. So, with the introduction we did, 2003, we were supposed to do with the economic development, supposed to look with especially commercial real estate and putting those type of things on there, so that we are developing that process. Could we get into anything that you're looking into doing that? Because I think that's more of the benefit, because I do know outside firms that look at websites for those reasons. We really don't have that.
Yeah, it's a tremendous question, and the state of Indiana Economic Development Corporation uses a tool called Zoom Prospector. It is where the state has put all of its stock in prospect management. We utilize and we interact with that portal today. So those linkages will be directly connected. And I think as best has been said, the key is to get the super user group established, get the linkages, but the short answer to your question is yes, it will not only have a visible presence, but I think we realize it needs to be front and center, even if it's only just an identifier or site selection, visit here, or a button that's visible. I liken sometimes the process to getting 10 people into a room and trying to decide, well, how many toppings you want on your pizza. Sometimes it's challenging. However, I believe we can, with the super users group, we can get to a common theme where there's enough buy-in from all parties as to a common theme, and we get as creative as we can.
Mr. St. Pierre.
Yeah, I just got a couple things. Okay, first of all, I guess this would be for the commissioner, for you, Sheila. How many companies such as his did we interview? Who did we reach out to? And how did we decide on this firm?
So we had 5 responses to an informal request. If you've watched the commissioners' meetings, I've been talking about this for a while and asking, kind of putting out a call. It doesn't meet our competitive bid requirement. It's a smaller contract, but we did get some responses. Darlene did a really good job of also, she's got all the IT connections, so she reached out to some people and we got some proposals. I have to say that Sarah Solution, first of all, is the only company that responded that's all LaPorte County, which to me, I think, it's helpful for us to support young businesses. Most of his colleagues are young millennials, and we want to keep them here in LaPorte County. Keeping our dollars local, I think, is really important. His experience, he manages over 100 websites and has done a lot of building. The fact that he has that experience, and when he met with us, he was able to really listen to us and then come back with a proposal that talked about some of the things that were really important to us. We really didn't want to pay for someone to do all this for us, because then we're going down a really expensive pathway. So getting the skeleton built, having all the technology that we need in place in our hands, and then being able to say, okay, county employees, how do we make this stay alive and, to Mark's point, stay fresh and make sure that the content is relevant? I think that was our challenge, and I think Sarah Solutions has been able to answer those questions for us.
Okay. And I had a conversation with with Tony today, and I did have to ask that question: was the ball dropped somewhere along the line as far as us not keeping it updated, the departments not contributing with what we needed? And he pretty much answered that. But let me go back to now. So for $28,985, that gets us rolling with everything that he presented. Did you mention something about a monthly cost?
Yeah, Seth, I don't know, with the server, has that changed that amount?
I'm not sure. I can tell you that we can house it locally, which is a tremendous savings. You know, we have the hardware already in place. We've actually spun up a server with the requirements, you know, exceeding what they would require to put the webpage in. And I believe your quote also has converting the current data, because, I mean, for 2003 for the webpage, currently what the IT department does is we get minutes or things from the other departments and we post them. That's, I mean, other than that, we have asked other departments for information and they're not, you know, necessarily giving it to us.
Right.
I mean, even with the calendar on the front page, you know, we try to get all the meetings scheduled, but I mean, if they don't respond, I have no authority over it.
And that's where Randy was making a point, basically, to our appointed positions by council and commission. We have the authority. On the elected officials, I mean, you would hope that they would want to contribute in that fashion. Let me, one more thing.
To answer your question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's kind of involved with that whole thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, nobody dropped the ball. It's like, you know, you buy your new car, and then you wash your car every day, and now you wash your car every week, you wash your car every month. You gotta remember the process was really good. It went excited, and everybody got excited about it. But I don't think it's necessary that anybody dropped the ball. Just the newness got away from it. That's all, more or less. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. No,
I know that
I have one other thing. So go ahead.
No monthly, not for hosting. Right. But I know that we have had meetings with other departments, and the commissioners have had department head meetings, and there are departments that have people in their departments excited about being able to update their pages and add their content of things going on, because the IT department doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. You know, if we go up there, and we don't have the time to go to everyone and ask, but I don't know if there is a monthly fee for their software. I mean, for the hardware and hosting, there would not be.
Right, so that's just the transparency of it. Is we're actually happy for it to be hosted internally because that eliminates the cost.
Sure.
So there is no monthly hosting or maintenance cost through us at all. If need be, ongoing consulting or anything like that, help with training people, but we would provide documents and processes for that as well. So there wouldn't be any direct hosting cost through us.
Okay, my last question again, I had a conversation with Tony, and I guess I need to ask the auditor on this one too. You're talking about an assistant to come in, and you're looking and searching and seeing, who the right fit is for that. And so my question is, and you had said to me that you believe that it has been budgeted, but we have not used it. And so my question, Ms. Auditor, is have we been doing that each and every year, but we just have not utilized a person in that capacity?
No, you give them a certain amount every year, and then they have to work within that budget, just like everybody else. So I think, what was it? You got 125,000 so far, and so within that budget,
that's all inclusive. That's not. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been where we've taken 30,000 and said, if you ever need to utilize this for a part-timer.
No, that's up to them. If they feel like they have enough money to get an assistant,
so they have to work within their means. That's fine.
Right.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I have a few more questions. One of the things about updating is to actually for user access and the ability to put forms on there that can either be completed, submitted, and I don't know if this is where we're headed. I would hopefully believe that we can do whatever we can to make it easier for our citizens to contact us through the website as well. So I'm not sure if this is in the initial plans and thoughts.
Absolutely.
The second thing is my understanding from talking with different people is that payments, another thing would be to be able to accept payments securely, safely, and I'm seeing a head shaking no that we're not planning to do it through that website.
Currently, we actually just put a link on our page, so we don't house any of that liability. There's companies out there that do that for us, and so we would still continue to, there's PayGov out there that the clerk's office use.
So we would just send them to all these various links rather than having to house anything, correct?
Right. We don't collect anybody's credit card information.
But the ability will be so somebody can go on there, click on some place that's secure, whether it's one of these other websites that'll be transferred to, and so that therefore they can do it right from the seat of their house.
Currently, you can pay your taxes online. So if you want to pay your taxes, you go on the Treasurer's webpage, and there is a link that will take you to that other webpage. And I think you can search via name or parcel number, and then submit your payment through iCloud, I believe it is. And we give them data every year so that they can. So you would be able to search by parcel number or name, but we don't house any of that liability then as a county.
No, great answer. I just want to make sure that the intent is to expand that so that anything for the planning, they can get whatever forms they can get on there, any payments, permit fees, whatever. Make it as simple as possible for everybody. Because one of the things that I know we've heard and we've discussed is that some people just feel that there's a lack of ability to use the website in a current function, compared to some other communities.
Well, certainly, Mr. Rosenblum, the current website doesn't have any of that capacity, but some of the departments have, the ones that we talked about previously, they've done a good job of trying to figure out how to provide better customer service. So our goal in this project is to provide extremely great customer service, accurate information, updated content, and then as the project morphs, there may be additional things. Technology is changing quickly, and we want to be able to adapt and make sure that we're taking care of people.
I just have one last question. I know that we mentioned a monthly fee, then we kind of backtracked on it, but I just want to make sure I totally understand this one, because I thought, in my mind, there might be some sort of fee for just to have a retainer fee, to have on-call services, so we'd be able to call you and get the company solutions right in, like you do like your other clients.
So if I can speak to that, the error on the monthly fee was my error. When we began to talk with all of the companies, including the one I referenced that had a $6,000 monthly fee, the company that you spoke with last time, a year ago, when we spoke with Seth, I gave him that number. I said, we talked to some company that's $5,000 to $6,000. He looked at me and said, that's ridiculous. I said, okay, so give me a number. Like, how much would it cost if you hosted us? And he said, maybe $400, maybe $350. I said, okay, now we're talking. And that kind of cleared it up for me. By us hosting the website ourselves, we don't have to pay an outside consultant to do that. But I do agree with you. There may be times where we need to get technical support that internally we're not able to provide. And at that point, I think that we would do it on a case-by-case basis in getting additional help or a redesign or support.
And hopefully we'll lock in a fee, an hourly
That's
rate.
That's right. That's correct.
As part of the agreement.
Great.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Hearing none?
Thanks so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you.